Today, I'm going to show you what states have tax deed sales. The 31 states hold tax deed sales in the form of public auctions. Now, the tax deed sale, you get ownership of the property. Now, they don't hold tax deed sales in all states. In some states, they sell what are called tax liens, and that gives you a lien against the property that is generally going to pay you interest or penalties, but is not going to give you ownership of the property. And there are a few places like Illinois where you do get ownership, but that's going the way of the dodo bird, so I don't want to get more into that. I'll talk more about that a little bit later. It may surprise you that all tax deed sales are not final. In some states, the owner can redeem the property from the tax sale. What redeeming means is that they can pay the taxes, penalties, and interest and still keep the property. And that's right of redemption is important because you'll lose ownership of the property if the former owner redeems within the time period. By redemption, it means the former owner pays the taxes, penalties, and interest after the auction and keeps ownership of the property. Now, you as the bidder, of course, are going to get your money back and plus interest, but you're not going to get to keep the property. And you also cannot sell a property while it's subject to a right of redemption, at least not to a retail buyer. You might sell it to another investor who knows that he may lose the property, but you're not going to get great money for that. Now, if you were to buy a property subject to redemption, you also don't want to work on the property other than measures to preserve the property, like maybe boarding up windows or fixing a leaking roof, but nothing past that. Because if the person redeems it, good chance that you're not going to get reimbursed for those expenses. So you don't want to, do any fix up, and you certainly want to fix it up and make it appealing for them to redeem. Each state has its own rules and regulations and court decisions around tax sales. So if you're going to be buying properties at tax deed auctions, make sure that you understand the process in your state and understand all the rules before you buy. Because the rules aren't always intuitive, nor will they always seem fair to you as an investor. But you have to keep in mind, most states don't care about you as an investor. They simply care about getting the tax money from the property owners. So the playing field can be a little tilted towards the property owners and away from you. So do keep that in mind and just be cautious. But that doesn't mean that this is a bad business. It's a great business, but it does mean that you need to be educated and careful and go into these transactions with a lot of knowledge ahead of time. And there are a lot of risks buying properties at tax deed auctions. But if you're smart and thorough, the risks can really be offset with the amazing low prices that you can pay at a tax deed sale. I bought this property at 711 Chain Street in Norristown, Pennsylvania. I bought it for, get this, $4,000. And it looked pretty much like it looks in that picture. Didn't need a lot of work. I bought this other property at Stanbridge Street, forget this, $275. I'm not misspeaking. I bought it for $275, free and clear of any mortgage. Now, those are amazing deals, but understand, the properties we're talking about are generally run down. Those were fairly run down properties when I bought them, and they're not in the best neighborhoods. But you can make great money on these things as long as you do it correctly. So make sure that you understand the redemption periods. Now I'm going to give you a list of states, and I'm going to tell you which ones have rights of redemption and which ones don't. And understand, these laws do change, and I'm not your lawyer. I'm a lawyer, but not your lawyer. I'm licensed in Pennsylvania, so I could theoretically give you legal advice there, but I can't give it in any other state. So all I'll say is I'm going to generally tell you the rules and make sure that you're responsible for yourself and that you keep up with what the new laws are, because the laws do change over time and they are changing. So make sure that you're careful. But when you are at the tax deed auction, you can really make some great money. Typically, properties are sold for 20, 30, 40, even 50% off of retail. There are plenty of experienced attorneys who can help you out with understanding the process before you bid. But before you bid, make sure that not only you talk to an attorney, but you also understand what the rules of the auction are. And you get those from the auctioneer before you bid. You can get an understanding of the rules. They'll tell you when you have to make payment, They'll tell you what form of payment they take. Generally it's ACH or cash. But here's the list. Alabama, some states sell tax deeds, others only sell tax liens. So check county by county. Alaska, they hold tax sales. They're held by the municipalities rather than counties. So check with each municipality when their sale is. In Arkansas, they sell them. There's a 90-day right of redemption, but it's 2 years if the owner is disabled or in active military. California, they sell them. Connecticut, they sell them as a 6-month right of redemption, or 60 days if it's an abandoned property. In Delaware, they sell them with a 60-day right of redemption. Florida, they sell them, no redemption. Georgia, 1-year redemption period. For most sales, there are a couple of refinements to that. A couple other sales have no redemption. And note, in Georgia, if they redeem, you get 20% as a premium on the amount that you bid. So that's pretty good. You get what you paid plus 20%. And in Georgia, though, very few redemptions ever actually happen for things that are too complicated to go into right now. In Hawaii, they sell them, and there's a 1-year right of redemption in Hawaii. Idaho, they sell them, no right of redemption. Kansas, they're sold, no redemption. In Maine, they're sold. Those are sold by municipalities rather than at the county level. In Maryland, they sell them. You have 6 months to redeem from the tax lien sale, but once it moves to the tax deed sale, no further right of redemption. In Massachusetts, they sell them with a 6-month redemption period. That can be up to 2 years if they start paying. So they make some partial payments that could stretch out to 2 years, but generally 6 months. Michigan, they sell them, no redemption. Minnesota, Nevada, New Hampshire, sold without any right of redemption. New Mexico, they sell them, no right of redemption. North Carolina, North Dakota, Ohio, Oklahoma, Oregon, Pennsylvania, no rights of redemption, except for Philadelphia and Allegheny County, which is Pittsburgh, which have some funky redemption rules, but generally no rights of redemption. And also in Pennsylvania, those rules are a little bit complicated. I have another video I did on Pennsylvania, so if you're interested in Pennsylvania, just watch those videos, because they have sales that are held in September called the upset sale. They have ones in the cities. So make sure if you're interested in Pennsylvania, you go watch my other videos on that. Sell them in Tennessee with a 1-year right of redemption period, unless it's vacant and abandoned, then it's 120 days after a court petition. Texas, they sell them with a 2-year right of redemption for a homestead property or designated agricultural. 6-month redemption in Texas for commercial properties or any property other than homestead or designated agricultural. The winning bidder, by the way, in Texas you get a 25% penalty if they redeem within 6 months and 50% penalty if they redeem after 6 months but before their year is up, or if they redeem during the second year. And that's a penalty, which is pretty good, so that's even more valuable. Utah, they're sold with no right of redemption, as well as in Virginia and Washington and Wisconsin, all sold with no right of redemption. So as you can see, there are a lot of states that these are available in, 31 states altogether, and also tell you this is expanding. There was a case called Tyler versus Hennepin County that went up to the Supreme Court, and I think it was summer of 2023, if I remember correctly. In that court case, the Supreme Court said that when properties are sold at tax sale, if there's money left over, then the property has to be claimable by the former owner. And there's also some language in there, and I think some assumptions, that if they sell the property without an auction, that may not be approved by the Supreme Court if it goes up to the Supreme Court, and states could find themselves with a lot of liability. So the way that's translating today is that I think states are going to all move to tax deed sales rather than places that hold tax lien sales, which, like Illinois, for example, holds a tax lien sale where you basically pay for a year's worth of taxes, and if someone doesn't pay off the taxes, they give you the property for whatever you paid in that year's worth of taxes. I don't think that you're going to see that anymore. I think you're going to see all tax deed sales. So this is very much an expanding, list. So it's 31 states now. It is expanding. I've already seen new laws being drafted, not passed yet, but being drafted. So really good business to be getting into. Just make sure that you understand deeply within your state how it works. So do things, for example, like do a Google search to say, how do tax sales work in, North Carolina? And you'll inevitably see some articles by attorneys who want to attract business from investors at tax sales in North Carolina. That's a person that's going to know this business. You could sit down with them for an hour or two. Obviously, you're going to pay them for their time. But in an hour or two with someone like that, you get amazing value out of it. And you get someone that you could use if you're actually going to be buying properties at tax sale that you could use to represent you and get your problems ironed out. So I encourage you to go check further into this. There are great bargains, 20, 30, 40, even 50% off at tax sales. So I think it's a really great way to acquire properties very cheaply. cheap enough to do a fix and flip business. And it's complicated enough that people don't just go in and do this randomly. You kind of scare off the casual bidder, which is great, because if you're only bidding against professionals that don't want to overpay, that's a much better position to be in as a business proposition. I do lots of videos on this channel, so you may want to poke around and you can see videos on how do tax sales work in Pennsylvania, how do they work in South Carolina. I've done a whole bunch of those. So make sure you check those out. And hopefully this was of service to you. If you liked it, give it a like. If you didn't like it, send me a note and let me know what I could do better. I'm happy to do better. And whatever you do, I'm glad you're looking into something you can do to be productive. It's the productive people that are doing things that make things happen in the world. So I encourage you to keep that up, keep trying, keep searching. And when you see the thing you like if this tax sales appeals to you, go out and execute on it. Try it. Learn first and then try it, and you can have amazing success. I have lots of wealthy business owner friends, and they weren't born with silver spoons. There was no magic vision in the middle of the night that told them they would be successful if they did something. Instead, they went and tried it, and they found that it caught on, and they've made amazing lives out of it. An amazing life can be out there for you too, but only if you try and you do. And imagine a little child, if they never tried to walk, what would ever happen? Nothing. Nobody would be walking. They'd all be crawling. So this is Bob Diamond, over and out for now. If you like this, press the like, subscribe for more, and I'll see you next time.